What's up, everybody? Welcome into Unpaved. I'm Adam Sager. He is Sean Salisbury, Triple E, behind the scenes, getting us all our graphics and everything. Sean, we got a lot to talk about. It's almost Ryder Cup time. Tomorrow morning, they tee off. We've got an AL MVP race that I don't know how a voter makes a decision on either Aaron Judge or Cal Raleigh. And then we got Thursday Night Football. We got the Seahawks, who I think are kind of a surprise team that nobody really had as a contender to make the playoffs, but I think they're better than people are giving them credit for. And then the Arizona Cardinals are just the Arizona Cardinals we always see, but we'll break that down later in the show. But we start in New York at Bethpage Black, one of the best events that we get every couple of years when it comes to, we get the Olympics every 2 years, winter, summer, back and forth, but the Ryder Cup played on one of, if not the best course in America at Bethpage. The teams are stacked. The hatred amongst some of them is real. The fans are raring to go with who knows what's going to be said. And I want to talk about that at some point. Like, how far is too far when we talk about the golf course and how golf is so much different than football, baseball, basketball. But Sean, we are 18 hours away from tee off, something like that.
Like how you feeling? Central or 6:37, 7 o'clock Central or something tomorrow, or something like that.
7:10 Eastern is the first tee off, at least as of right now. Now, New York is getting slammed with rain. I saw pictures of the golf course earlier, puddles everywhere, but they expect to be able to tee off at the time that they're saying, early morning. I'm really, really looking forward to this. And how are you feeling? How does the U.S. stack up against Europe right now?
I feel awesome about it. I just flew on a red eye from Hawaii to LA, and I'm sitting in LA airport for about 5 hours last night before we flew back. Got in early this morning in Texas, and the whole time I was sitting here thinking and looking and reading, going through social media and listening to the clips because of, they moved up the opening ceremonies because of the rain today, right. Did on Wednesday. I've been so not only passionate, but I'm so obsessed with golf. And then this hits. It's like, man, I don't know. I'm not playing in it, but I sure feel like the grind of. I can't wait to see every shot. And I think
where does this rank when it comes to the Masters, the Open, the four majors?
I think that those
championship.
Individually, obviously, those things matter. Over the course of time, Tiger Woods isn't measured by his losing percentage or his losing record in all the Ryder Cups. A lot of times it's also a partner that's with you or somebody else. You never know with pairings how it's going to go. We measure Tiger Woods, Jack Nicklaus on majors in the Ryder Cups. And, oh, by the way, when we get to it, we start talking about Seve Ballesteros and his impact on the Ryder Cup. Yes, it matters. Right. Put it this way. Would it matter when we're putting people in the Hall of Fame? We think about that when we're talking about like toughness and grind and team talk. It's always Ryder Cup. But we talk about the Masters all the time. We seem to focus on the Ryder Cup. It's like compressed down into, as we get into that year, every 2 years, and the months people want to be on the Ryder Cup, they want to make the Tour Championship. Most guys, when we think about this past year, we're talking about Scotty Scheffler. Very rare are we talking about he and Koepka getting smoked in the 9 and 7 in a Ryder Cup in a matchup. But we always talk about another 6 wins and another 2 majors. So, but Segs, I think when it gets down to, when an individuals get going, it's like a player, Hall of Famer, in football or basketball, those individual numbers, and you hit 330 for your career, and you're Tony Gwynn, you struck out average of 30 times a year, all that puts you in the Hall of Fame. And we love it. But, or quarterbacks, all those numbers. But we also say, yeah, but what about the Super Bowls, right? The numbers and the Super Bowls are almost tied into individual in football. They really are. Think about it. Well, if you're a quarterback, oh man, he put up great numbers, but he didn't win a Super Bowl. But they got to be gaudy numbers. In golf, the Ryder Cup almost is in its own category. It's almost like you're this great golfer which allowed you to play well enough to be a Ryder Cup player and get chosen or have the points to get in. But Segs, for me, I think deep down, the memories, knowing that you're playing for not only your country, you saw Scotty Scheffler with the gold medal, crying on the stand. And most of us don't care about gold medal golf Olympics. Honestly, name me who he beat. That's what I always say. Who did Scotty Scheffler beat? Was it Justin Rose? Maybe I think. I'm not sure.
I think so.
Yeah, I think it was Justin Rose, but we don't know yet. Scotty Scheffler stood up there and bawled his eyes out because he was representing his country and he was among a team. When it comes to the Ryder Cup, man, I'm passionate. I wish I was there. I will not miss a shot this weekend. If it means missing and having to rewatch a football game, great. That's how passionate I am. I think when it gets right, listen to the players try to describe it. You know, you want, obviously the selfish part of want to win majors. That's how we're judging in tournaments players by. But because there's been plenty of great players that have played in, think about this. Luke Donald was the number one player in the world in 2012. Mm-hmm. When he was, that was his last Ryder Cup, Segs, is the number one player in the world. It's like Super Bowl. If you're going to play him all the time, he has not played as a player in the Ryder Cup. He's been, he was the captain last time they won and is a phenomenal as the number one player in the world. 2012, he's not played in the Ryder Cup again, and he was the number one player in 2012 in the world. He is who Scotty Scheffler was when it comes to ranking. So for me, and I would imagine for them, Segs, think about anything you've ever been in. Yeah, man, you go out and play. Well, if we went out and me and you and two of our buddies played in a foursome and had a Ryder Cup competition against our buddies, and it was, we're going to talk about that forever. Individually, people are going to judge you by your individual accomplishments. But there's always this sense of how were you when you were playing for your country and your teammates. And I think when I lose in a golf match or when Rory McIlroy gets beat or Scheffler gets beat at a major or a tournament, you and your caddy and your small team, right? Your swing coach and all that, your family. When you go out there to Ryder Cup and win or get beat, you're talking about you're now representing a whole bunch of others. You feel like you the weight of the world. Like, can you imagine standing over a 12-footer to win the Ryder Cup? And if you miss it, I go back to when Nicklaus he conceded and picked up Tony Jacquelin's ball marker from about a 3.5-foot putt. That was to lose the Ryder Cup. And Jack said the competition, the spirit of the competition, I didn't think he was going to miss it. And he picked it up and handed him his marker, and they tied. Now, there's people that will go nuts. And I'm not in New York. If he did that, they may go absolutely. They may their head may explode. I actually think the course of your career, you're going to go back and the first thing you say is, how did I do individually in that? But the memories, and when you say what kind of teammate were you and how big was it? It will. Rory's Masters putt to win in extra holes this year. While it matters to him and in the big scheme of things, it's huge. While we judge him for his legacy. Right. But when it comes to his countrymen walking into a pub, and when it comes to fans and those passion in Europe or here, for me, I will always remember this. If as a fan, I just think it's got more weight on your shoulders when you feel like you're winning it for everybody and yourself, as opposed to I won for myself and a few others. We judge their careers by their performance individually in majors and tournaments. I think we judge their, I don't know, what kind of, think about how Paul Azinger, how we judge, and Seve Ballesteros, as good as Seve was. But when we talk about Seve Ballesteros, when the Ryder Cup comes up, people on both sides, Americans and Europeans, are like, that dude there was he represented exactly what the Ryder Cup is. It meant everything. And bringing, Rory McIlroy tells the story. Seve was sick, and he got on a conference call with his team, and this is what turned McIlroy's thoughts about the Ryder Cup around. He said when Seve was sick and he called us on a conference call, he said, I looked around the room and everybody was crying. He said, that is when I knew how big it was. Yeah. So I think it's easier to overcome something that you yourself did for just you yourself. I think it's harder. I think the losses, Segs, individual, what have you, the hardest thing for me in my sport was when I let my teammates down. in a football game. Now that is a team sport, and this is the epitome. It doesn't get any bigger than this when it comes to teams in golf, period. We know that. But I would argue that it probably hits deeper than missing a putt to lose a tournament or even a major, because I think you almost feel like I'll get that chance again. I control that. But you don't control the Ryder Cup. You never know, like Luke Donald, if you're going to play in it again. It's hard, man. So I couldn't be more pumped up. I think the weather, hopefully the gods will be smiling down. We'll get it in. I think the Ryder Cup, I think this is going to be as wow factor a Ryder Cup, considering where it is, the golf course, all the chatter talk. These guys are friends, 52 and 51 weeks or 50 weeks a year because of 2-year difference. There's that 2-week period as we get into it where I love you, I love you. Today I'm here to beat your brains in. I love the team atmosphere. I would think this would cut deeper on a missed putt than when you missed one by yourself.
And that's why you talk about the team aspect of the Ryder Cup and everything. That's why I love the foursomes, the alternate shot, because it's a team game. Now, yeah, it's just a duo, so you're in pairs, but having to know your teammate so well and be like, okay, I want this from 107 yards. And that's how dialed in these guys are. It's not just 105, get me to 110. No, I want it at 107 yards, and they know, okay, I got to hit this shot 165 yards to set up this next shot, because I can't, whatever it is, to make it to the green on like a par 5, or you're setting your partner up, because if you hit it, now he's got to get your ass out of trouble. Whereas in 4-ball, which is still fun because it's still a team game, but everybody's just playing their own ball. So
low score wins.
Yes, it's different. But I just love the.
And they got to use the same golf ball, Segs. And it's a big, when they judge it, so people know you don't get to go replace your Titleist for his Bridgestone. That's why you pair. You're always looking for, there'll be partners, and there's not many of them. You'll partner 2 guys together because they both play the same golf ball. So, and I was listening to, who was it? Was it whatever? I can't remember what player it was saying, listen, the golf ball is our most important piece of equipment. That's even more than the iron they're holding, because they know exactly how it's supposed to work for them.
Right.
And I say this, if you're an average golf fan, and I love the four sums, so people understand that maybe the 4 sums is alternate shot. You got to play the same golf ball, so you're hoping you both play. If you're a Pro V guy or you're a Bridgestone guy, in 4-ball you're playing your own ball and best score. And then the best score opposite, their 2 versus our 2. You take the lowest score for that, but it's alternate shot, and then obviously the singles. But I think people who don't follow golf won't set their clock by the British Open like you and I might.
Right.
If it's on, or when Tiger Woods was playing, they would. It's Tiger Woods. But I'll watch the John Deere Classic. Yeah. If you're not a golf fan, you are tuning into this because it's the buildup. You can't wait to see how your teammates, your countrymen respond. And so it is the format of a team game. Dude, when you're carrying the burden of a whole bunch of others, not just yourself, you put it this way. If it doesn't matter more to you, then I think you're kind of a shitty teammate. That's the way I'd look at it. So, because you got to face them, and you got to, and just the energy that goes with it, and dealing with pressure, dude. I'm feeling pressure, and I'm not even playing in the damn thing. I'll be sitting on my couch from my living room. So, I think it brings the average golf fan close. And then, could it be in a more like high-paced, like fervor place than Long Island, New Yorkers, great fans who love this, who are going to get after it? I actually say, I can't, if this started at midnight, my ass would be up at midnight. I would sacrifice sleep. Not on tape. I want to see it all live. And the lead up to it, listening to the broadcasters talk about Paul McGinley and talking with Chambly, and how Chambly talks about DeChambeau, which has got to be a little extra. How Bryson said he's going to be chirping in Rory's ear. How Rory said, he said at Whistling Straits, I didn't feel like I was really into the crowd post-COVID, and it affected my game. He goes, then when they won last year, he goes, I was really into it and feeding into the crowd. He goes, so there's a fine line to trying to get too caught up into it and forgetting you're golfing, and then not getting caught up into it, and then you kind of lose the energy of the moment. And and they both got guys that are going to get at. You'll see a guy like Victor Hovland, who really you don't see much. He smiles a lot, but you don't see a lot. The personality is going to shine. What's Ludwig Oberg, who's just a nice, tall Swede who big old handsome, perfect swing guy. And I'm like, is he going to be a fist pumping, jack up the crowd and point and give him this and all the stuff that goes with it? And then how are the fans going to handle each individual, which is another thing with etiquette. Where do you draw the line with that? But I feel like I'm on the team because I'm so into it. I've been anticipating this. And even though I'm not, I'm gonna be talking to myself every damn shot that's on the Ryder Cup. And as far as how it matches up, Segs, you'd asked, the depth of listen, I don't know how we're favorites. I do know because it's on our soil and it's tough to win.
And the last 5 have won on the home.
So hard to win on the road, and everybody knows that. But if they were playing, let's say not in the U.S. and not in Europe, they were playing in a complete in Mexico at a golf course. Wherever. I'm just telling you, the lineup. Well, we got great depth, but we got like 4 rookies playing. They got 11 dudes from the last one, and one is a Højgaard, where Rasmus now is replacing his brother Nikolai, and it's the same DNA. So from 1 to 12 and experience-wise, if this wasn't on home soil, if it was in Europe, I think they'd be heavy favorites. Now, I don't think they're going to win. At least I'm rooting for my U.S., but the respect, their team is they're nasty deep. Yet here we are looking at a guy like J.J. Spawn a year and a half ago who said, I don't know a lot about the guy. Who's now the 6th-ranked player in the world, and you're counting on him to come up with some points and make some clutch shots like he did at the U.S. Open this year. So the cat and mouse game, but anybody that calls the Europeans underdogs, yes, because of the golf course and where it's located, but you can forget swing for swing. Don't feel sorry for the poor Europeans. Your ass. They are friggin' loaded with great golfers. And I can't wait to see head-to-head how they get after it in the foursomes and the 4-ball and then Sunday singles.
Yeah, we'll learn the pairings for the first couple days later today at about 3 Central when they do the press conference, because normally they do it at opening ceremonies, but with it being yesterday, of course, they don't do it until the day before the Ryder Cup actually starts. So the opening ceremonies were washed out today, had to be yesterday, and we'll learn all the pairings later today. But before we talk about what pairings we'd like to see together and who we want to see matched up in singles, a big deal this week and last week was the fact that the Europeans chose or decided that they weren't going to be paid for this, while the U.S. players are getting a $200,000 stipend each. Do you think that plays in any factor when it comes to this? Do you think it shows the Europeans, cherish this more, and the U.S. is just looking for a little bit of a payday? Or is this just, hey, this is what we decided, and, good for Euros saying they don't want the money, but U.S. decided they want it? I mean, how does that factor into this whole thing?
It does. Distraction-wise, especially once the tournament starts, I don't think they give a shit, right? They're playing golf, and they're playing for their country. When I say I have a problem, I don't think they should be getting paid. I don't. You're going to charge $8 million for a hot dog and all that. The fans aren't getting any discount. They're going to pay $750 to $1,000 or more ticket, all that. But they're doing it the right way, from Cantlay to Scheffler. And I love how Scheffler answered the guy. Goes, have we met? At a press conference, the guy asked a question. He said, listen, me and my wife do a lot locally. We don't like that. I'm not looking for applause, basically, or pound on the back about who we give our money to.
Right.
But it's a $200,000 stipend, but $300,000 extra that they donate to charity. Most of the players, if not all, I'm assuming Schauffele's doing it, Cantlay, they're going to give the money to charity. So it's double-edged here, Sigs. The Europeans are riding that pony and that horse big time.
Right.
Because what that is, it signifies, well, we play for passion. They have to get paid, the way that it's distributed. So put it this way, endorsements, because they play well in this, may come from both sides, where somebody says, man, what a great Ryder Cup. I want to give you a $5 million bonus from Titleist because you went 5-0 when we're all in all 5 matches. But the bottom line is, if you're the Euros, we've painted that the Euro. I asked Colt Knost this, the golf broadcaster, Segs for CBS and when he came on this show, if they're more passionate. And I think that you're going to create that any way you want. BS. You don't think that Patrick Cantlay cares as much, even though there's Rory McIlroy? Of course he does. Of course, because you know what? You want to be a heel. You want to be a GOAT. You want to be a heel. You want to be a hero. What do you want to do here? And when I say the GOAT, you want to be the straw that stirs the drink, and you want to go 4-0 or 5-0 and walk out of this, then you're legendary, man. It's etched in stone. That guy went 5-0 and beat Rory McIlroy in the singles as the fight coming down the stretch. He let it off. So it matters. They're going to make a big deal of it, and you can see the way that we do this. The Europeans will hit that, and I would too, for gamesmanship. I would hit it hard. Now, however, the reason they voted for the stipend, the truth of the matter is you're still taking that money and making a difference. This is when people bitch about it. When you look at it the other way is, okay, they gave us an extra $200,000 stipend, and I'm going to give it all to charity. There's 12 dudes giving $500,000 more than likely to charity. Think about the difference that makes in their community. So while, of course, if it was flip-flop, Segs, wouldn't you say, well, they got to get paid for theirs. We just show up as a country because we want to pay. Even knowing that your buddy, Luke Donald knows that Keegan Bradley's passion. Is there anybody more passionate to this than Keegan Bradley? I think that dude wants to fight everybody, would do anything to win. I do. Yeah. I friggin' love him as a captain. And Luke Donald's a phenomenal captain. From the golf ball you use to what weather and who's got the energy with one guy and it'll bring him up, and who's too overpowering to partner with another guy that his personality can't handle. I'm paired with Scotty Scheffler. I'm worried about keeping up with my partner, and then you forget that you got to keep up with the other team. You're like, I'm overwhelmed, like they always said about Tiger. That it was the other that you played with Tiger, and you were so worried that he was so good that you were letting him down, as opposed to going and playing golf and beating the opponent. So it's going to be talked about, and I think it did matter. But the fact that I think the U.S. team squelched it, I'm giving my money to charity. So you can be mad all you want. I think Scotty Scheffler 2 weeks ago, Segs, went and played as all those guys. About 8 or 10 of them went and played in that tournament in wine country. Mm-hmm. And Scheffler kept getting asked about the Ryder Cup. He said, I'll talk about the Ryder Cup next week. He goes, Scheffler didn't enter that tournament as a tune-up. He entered to win, the son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And he did. And he took a lot of time off between the last Ryder Cup, and it affected his game. So he played this time, wins it. I would expect him to be primed and ready to go. It matters. So if I was in a European team, I'd ride that horse till the cows come home, seeing if the U.S. I could piss him off and I'll say, you only play for the money. What's $200,000 mean to Scotty Scheffler? Not much. But it does mean something when he can turn around and give $500,000 total and make a difference to some family who may need a surgery for a kid, or some school who's right. So I would do just what the Europeans do, but there's no way that Luke Donald or Rory McIlroy think that Xander Schauffele or that Scotty Scheffler or that Keegan Bradley care more about it. I got an extra $200,000. Hell, that'll be spent on the champagne celebration if that was the case for either. So I think yes, it matters. But and you listen on the broadcast, when you listen to the studio shows, and Paul, when they got Paul McGinley talking about it, he says, I think it's wrong. They shouldn't do it, and I do too, Segs. But now I would just say everybody on both sides, here's $500,000 that goes automatically to charity, and end it. Now, don't give me a stipend to go pay for my trips. I don't need all that. It's already been paid for. Just designate it all to charity. Then you're making a difference that way, and bam, nobody gets the extra advantage. I would like it that way, and these guys will not be. They're not playing for 1 ounce of money. I assure you, they're playing because you could make $1 billion. These do. This ain't like you left to the Live Tour for the money, because if you let your teammates down, that money won't mean a hill of beans. The ability to give it to charity, I think, has squelched all that talk that this is the wrong way to do it. They're giving it away, and every player should give their money to somebody who needs it more than they do. Yeah,
100% agree with that. We have to see a DeChambeau Rory match at some point, right? Like it is, that will be must watch TV. I mean, if you're not even if you hate golf, when you get two competitors like that seemingly don't like each other and they're openly talked about it, if that's not one of the matches on Sunday, the Ryder Cup missed. And I know the coaches are deciding how they want to do it, and how they're up, and how many points are they up here? How can we feel like we can gain an advantage here? But it is a must that we see Bryson DeChambeau play Rory McIlroy.
Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine this. All square and all even after 11 holes on Sunday. The whole thing. And it comes down to the 12th pairing is DeChambeau and Rory McIlroy.
Yes.
See, you also got to know going in, you're thinking, well, I don't want to leave DeChambeau on the table if we're up 6 and his match doesn't matter. Or
Right.
do you throw him and a guy like McElroy out at the first of the Sunday matches and say, go set the tone? Yes, I would, because you know what? If you're Keegan Bradley, I'm anxious to see how Rory, as good as he is, does deal, because Rory's used to coming to the U.S. and people treating him well.
Right.
They love it. They are. And now, so we'll wonder. And then DeChambeau, I think this stage, and Xander Schauffele said it the best. He goes, this guy's a gladiator. You listen to Scheffler and those guys talk, that they say they can't wait to unleash him because this stage is set for him. He loves it. He's going to try to drive greens. As I mentioned yesterday, do you know there's not a green? They were talking, Segs, about the how you pair a guy who's a great iron player, or you're going to leave him out on the odd or even shot, right?
Yeah.
And do you know there's not a bunker on the golf course? I want you on 18 holes,
right,
that from the tee box that can hold DeChambeau's distance. I think it was Brandel Chambly or somebody else was talking, or one of the other analysts was talking about. They went. It was the big mustache guy.
I know who you're talking about.
Not Walt. You know who I'm talking about. He does all the little. He's the one walking the course and showing people funny with the big old thick mustache.
Yeah.
You know who I'm talking about. A Golf Channel guy, right? Well,
yeah.
His name will come to me, but he was saying how they were at the tee box, and they were practicing, and three guys hit it to their spot, but didn't reach the bunker. DeChambeau, the bunker to carry is 315. He said he hit a 325, flipped a wedge in there, and made birdie. And he said when he saw that, he changed his whole philosophy. People are there for that because he can literally bring the course to its knees because of his distance, right? Mm-hmm. And so, you do have to. You think you got to pair him, and that's why this Keegan. How do you put this in position to make sure we get to see that? And Keegan Bradley will love it. And those guys was the last one. They'll follow it around, but he is made for this. He loves. I think you can talk in, and it wasn't McCord, no, because Gary McCord's not even on the broadcast. It's Walton, not Walton. It starts with a W. I'll get to it. But I hear him. It's not every week, right? Regardless, but he was talking about it, and to me, to pair these guys and to see the crowd and how they're going to deal with it, and the energy that's going to be going both ways. I'll tell you who's another guy on the other side. Dude, for his mid to late 40s, Justin Rose has got as much. Justin Rose will talk him, and he can handle that pressure. So you're thinking, well, can he handle this because he's been to it? I just can't wait to see how they pair these guys with who in your comfort zone. Like Cantlay and Xander Schauffele are going to be paired more than once in this because they're buddies. They were best man at each other's weddings. But you also got to take into account, okay, this guy's a great driver of the golf ball. This guy hits it straight. And do you take the risk of putting Justin Thomas, energy guy, and DeChambeau, energy guy, in the same group and say, we're starting out on right off the bat on Friday, and we're running those two out there. We're going to set the tone, grab a point, and give everybody the middle finger. And so people understand the U.S., because it's on their soil, gets to set up the golf course. They get to help decide where pin placements are, all those things, and how they want the golf course set up because it's on their home soil. You get to do it how you want, and the other team has to adjust. So it is a heavy advantage that way for the home team. But yeah, the pairings and seeing it, the most intriguing is how's Rory going to handle it, and how's DeChambeau going to play all the pomp and circumstances goes with his game. But if you wondered if he can handle pressure, go back to him and McElroy head-to-head, him hitting that bunker shot to about 5 feet or whatever, 12 feet or whatever, or 15 feet, and making the putt at the U.S. Open. DeChambeau is equipped for this, and he embraces it instead of runs from it. So I think the louder, the better for him. Just depends on where Keegan Bradley's going to put him.
Yeah. Are you in favor of starting big if you're the U.S. and you get to throw your best team? If you want to throw Scotty Scheffler and Schauffele or Justin Thomas or Morikawa, you want to throw two of your best together in the first group to say, let's go out and dominate and get a point immediately. We think these two guys can do that. Are you a fan of that, or do you want to hold back and maybe throw a rookie and a veteran out there and let them kind of get used to this early? How do you like to start if you were deciding? If
it's me, give me DeChambeau and Justin Thomas right off the friggin' bat. It's risky. It is really. You get both your energy guys and then lose. Yeah. And they get smoked. Now the rest of the guys. But the way it can, listen, you're going to have to take some risks as a coach.
Right.
You just have to. Do I put Scheffler early, the best player in the world who's playing out of his friggin' mind, or do I stick him at the back end and have him anchor it? I want to get a point. Do I stick a consistent ball striker who's a great iron player, even though he struggled this year, like a Colin Morikawa, who wants this crowd to be loud? Or imagine, I'm just visualize tomorrow morning, Segs, DeChambeau walk into the first tee box. The place is going to friggin' erupt.
Right.
And it's like, but if you all of a sudden you throw DeChambeau in the middle and you're down 4 points to 1, you get the second point. It's like, okay, but we're still 2 down. Yeah. I think you have to take. I think he absolutely has got to be whoever you're partnering him with. Where the comfort level. Heck, it may be Ben Griffin. I don't know, but
yeah,
that him for sure. I think when you open up this thing, and if you're the Europeans, you got to throw your guy out there that you think can match that energy. Hell, I think Justin Rose would be a phenomenal back because you're not going to intimidate Justin Rose.
Right.
And Justin Rose, he's okay with all this. He's seen the movie, right? So, and you got your assistant captain, Jose Maria Olazabal, who's been there from Seve Ballesteros. There's this epic history in the backgrounds of from Seve to Olazabal to Sergio Garcia. I'll tell you another great matchup. I would probably, if I'm them, throw John Rahm and one of your guys and Justin Thomas and DeChambeau, because John Rahm is a energetic.
Yeah,
he can handle any shit talking you want to throw his way, and he's a live guy. So he's going to catch flack from New York fans because he's a live guy, but we also know how good he is, and he's got that. Dude, he's a Spaniard, and Spaniards love this shit. Think about it, and I mean that as a compliment. And I heard Paul McGinley say it. He goes, when you go down the list, there's this different energy about them. And so I'm going to say this. I would not be shocked if Rahm is in there, one of their guys, and DeChambeau and whoever they're paired with coming out, because it's probably going to be Rahm and Tyrrell Hatton to start. Yeah. Counter with Justin Thomas and DeChambeau. Now, dude, you got 3 live guys with energy out the end, and then you got Justin Thomas, who's an energy guy and can handle it. You've got to counter it. It will not shock me if that pairing is against DeChambeau and whoever else is pairing. But I want to start it off. I want the crowd going nuts, Segs. I don't want to have them sitting on their hands till the 6th pairing. I want them coming out. And DeChambeau's presence alone says they'll be out of their mind with energy. And we'll see if somebody may snap hook and miss a damn shot on the first hole, because I know damn well I would. But
sure.
I'm not waiting for the energy to kick in. I'm going to create it by my pairing on the first hole for sure.
Yeah, and if you're the Ryder Cup, if you're TNT, you want that. You want that DeChambeau, Justin Thomas, John Rahm, whoever.
Tyrrell Hatton, yes. And he'll get pissed, Segs. Hatton wears the most on sleeve. He'll drop an F-bomb, be pissed as hell, and then put a smile on his face. And he loves the antagonistic part of it as well. Right. There's no doubt.
So, I mean, getting the people watching immediately at 7 a.m. Eastern time, 6 a.m. I mean, we'll be up watching 6 a.m. on TNT, those first tee shots. And if it's that group of those 4, that crowd is going to be insane from the jump, and the ratings will jump immediately.
Oh,
and it'll just be nonstop watching from then on.
Segs, you're a huge golf fan, but when's the last time you anticipated a Ryder Cup like this?
Not like this. I mean, yeah, every couple of years it's like, oh yeah, Ryder Cup's coming. You're like, cool.
You've been
this year. It's been
shit.
Like, yes, like since the summer, you're like, oh, how can you set these teams up? Who's going to get the automatic qualifiers? Who's the captain's picks? What are they going to decide? It's just, this one just feels different.
Right. And tomorrow morning, I'm going to apologize to my local iHeart Sports Talk 790 fans, because the show starts at 6 Central.
Yeah, you're going to be like looking
on in our studio. Yeah. I hope you understand that if I get asked a question and I'm like, answer it golf wise when you're asking me a baseball question.
The Astros just hit a triple bogey. God damn it.
Rahm and DeChambeau. Yeah. So be patient for 4 hours, because I may have to ask you to repeat your question when you call in, because I am going to be fixated tomorrow morning on all of it. But yeah, the Ryder Cup to me, dude, it matters. And you had mentioned earlier, Segs, maybe you were just going to get to it, but where's the line, fan wise?
That was next. Yep.
I was listening to Tyrrell Hatton was talking with what's our guy's name? that he's a live player, and he's played like 6 Ryder Cups. He's always opinionated, skinny guy.
I'm not sure.
Gosh dang it! Let me look real quick as you're talking. Now I can't remember. I can't remember the broadcast. I'm so into this Ryder Cup and still a little hungover, not hungover alcohol wise, but from the trip that I said you can't remember. Let's see. European Ryder Cup teams. You know who I'm going to talk about. A lot of people don't like him because he's got an attitude, but he's smart mouth, but really bright guy. His kid plays on the. He's one of the great amateurs in the country too. He played in the AM. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I can picture him.
Keep talking, Segs.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to look up who.
And it's going to hit me right now.
Come up with it, but
European.
Yeah, while you look that up, I'll talk about like when we talk about going too far. When we talk about to me, going too far is when you start chirping certain players about their family or their kids, or if you're talking about, hey Rory, you blew it in this tournament or this Masters, or hey, don't choke another one away. That stuff, to me, that's part of the Ryder Cup. That's the kind of stuff like you just don't get personal with it, in my opinion. So it's just the fact that this is always such a raucous crowd on either side of the pond that they deal with every 2 years. And the fact that you get to make a little more noise, you get to say things that maybe wouldn't fly at normal tournaments, that if you said at Augusta, you're banned from even ever going back to the Masters. That is going to be, it's always a storyline. How far do the fans go? How into it are the fans? And we see, over in Europe, they're insane when it comes to just them screaming and yelling constantly after every shot. No, boos and cheers after every shot, no matter who hits it. If an American hits it over there, it's constant boos. And if he hits it out of bounds, the cheers go. That's the difference in the Ryder Cup compared to the Masters or the Open Championship or the PGA Championship. When a guy screws up, you never hear cheers.
Right. I'm talking about Ian Poulter.
Ian
Poulter. That's exactly right. So with him, he was talking to Terrell Hatton, and he was saying he's insufferable. He was antagonized. He says, what we don't do in Europe that they'll do there, hey, he said, get in the hole. He says, you dumb son of a bitch. Basically, he said, it's a par 5. He said, we don't do that here. They do it there. And Terrell Hatton starts laughing. They're egging each other because Poulter is a perfect Ryder Cup guy.
Yes.
He's not on this team because he's played on a lot of them because he understands the history. He is an antagonizer, but a damn good player, right? So he's antagonizing. And so that'll fuel the fire of how the U.S. Basically, what you're saying is that European fans are more intelligent, in a roundabout way, on golf than U.S. fans. It's not true, but it's a good little dig, even though Poulter plays a lot of golf here, right? Segs for me, I think that the line is get after and be loud, stay away from personal attacks, and don't talk in their swing. All the leading up to it, talk when they're done and the guy misses a shot, let him have it. You should, and if they don't expect it, then they shouldn't be playing. Right. Let him have it and get after it. But that one fan who's the guy's in his backswing and yells, "You're the man," or "You suck, McIlroy," and he can't pull the club back because it's like a kicker getting ready to line up to kick stakes, and you got one timeout left, and you throw the timeout as he swings through, and your head, do I swing through this thing? Do I kick it, or just add it and then let him blow the whistle? Because there's that hesitation. If I'm a kicker and they got one timeout left, aren't you sitting there saying they're going to call timeout, so you're a little hesitant? Other than saying, I don't care, I'm swinging through it, and they're not going to use their timeout. It's the same thing here. How do you approach it knowing that there may be one guy or two, and I hope that we don't come out of this Ryder Cup saying passionate fans, great, but every third hole there was an asshole that ruined it for everybody else. Let them play the great golf, get after it, stay away from families and cussing out kids and cussing in their backswing. Let them play golf the way it's supposed to be played. And in between, get after it.
Yes.
Loud, And when they're doing it, and you know what? When they make a putt, and it's happened in the past when Justin Leonard made that putt, people don't realize, do you realize that when he made that putt, if they make that putt, they still have a chance to win, to go forward.
Mm-hmm.
And people are trampling on the green, and you could hear Tom Lehman say when he's like, you know what, we got to be better about that, right? You got to let the guy play it out. You can cheer, but when he lines up that putt, and the Americans can't be stomping on his, I know the enthusiasm, but he's still got to putt it out. If it's the last putt, create all the divots, So I just want them to be as loud and as crazy as they can be, but I still want it when they address the golf ball, let them play golf. Because I don't want to win a Ryder Cup coming out of it saying the reason they won is because they were rude, so rude that the guy, you're talking in their backs. You just can't do it. You got to be, and I think our fans will do that. I do, passionate, but let them play golf and celebrate in between, after, and before, and be as loud as you can. But this isn't a football game. There's still the etiquette that goes with the guy standing over a putt. Don't cheer, and cheers 3 fairways over. If you're a player, you're just going to have to deal with that. But don't be talking in their backswing, and don't make it personal, because all these guys eventually come back and play here. Let them play head-to-head and let our guys or their guys beat us or us beat them with a great approach to golf, not because everybody – you want the controversy to come out and say, oh, man, what a bummer, the guy missed a putt and lost it, as opposed to that fan talked in his backswing and one of the U.S. players walked down his line and disrupted the golf. Yeah. I think both captains are classy, Keegan Bradley and Luke Donald, and I think that they'll probably understand the importance of that. And so do the players. They want to win it with real golf, but make no mistake, all the energy in between shots is what we're counting on. In New York, what better place to get it than the fans of New York?
Right. Yeah. We have 5 rookies, 4 on Team US. We have JJ Spawn, Russell Henley, Ben Griffin, Cameron Young. And then the only rookie, as you mentioned earlier, is Rasmus Højgaard from Team Europe. You're these 5 guys. You're walking into this event. You know, I'm sure they know where they're going to play, when they're going to play, that kind of stuff. Their captains have told them that. But they walk up on that first tee. What is going through their mind, especially if you're Højgaard here on Team Europe? And that, I mean, the other 4 on Team USA at least have the crowd behind them. They are getting cheered on. You're Højgaard. You walk up. I don't care if your brother's played in it, your mom's, I don't care who's played in it.
His brother, his twins told him a million times, here's what's going to feel like on the
exactly.
His brother played on their soil, though. Different story.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where he's going to walk up, and this crowd is going to be booing him and getting after him until he takes his shot. And if you're him, what is that got to, I mean, you've went into, in college playing for USC, go play at Notre Dame.
Playing as a rookie,
UCLA. You're playing in these big spots, where these big stadiums where everybody hates you. What's that feel like, and what's this got to feel like for Højgaard when the first time he steps to the tee and takes that first drive?
It's a mix. First of all, after you shit and piss yourself about 4 times, and
a couple times.
We used to joke at our games with a guy doing. He'd say, "Hey man, make sure you bring out your third jock strap, your third pair of pants, because you're going to need them by halftime." To get what it's going to feel like. The similarities, like as a quarterback getting your first start, or on the road, which I did in the NFL, and we won, and I played well. Segs, it's that fine line of. You're going to be a hero, or are you going to be the reason? You're going to be the reason why. Am I going to be the reason why we lost, or am I going to be a big reason why we won? And I know in my first start, we won at the Rams, and I played well in my home. Aside from it being my first start, an hour from my home on the road, but it was in Anaheim playing the Rams, and I'm from San Diego. So it even added a little more. I got to play well for my family. I would imagine he's leaned on his brother a lot to that first tee. The truth is, though, these guys know how to take a golf club away and square it up. I guess the best way I would describe it, Sigs, I embraced the nerves, man. I knew they were coming. When I say scared to death, not afraid of the competition. And it's like, now, if you and I were going to play, and it was like this, we're playing, and it's like, damn, can I hit this ball straight? They know they could. It may be a little offline. They're going to find their golf ball. And as football, I knew that, okay, if I threw the first one incomplete, I'm eventually going to get completions and get rolling, but it's that first snap under center. The truth is, anybody that tells you they're not, even though I felt poised and ready, I'd put all the preparation. I knew I was ready to play, but there's still that, am I ready to play? What are they going to do different? And one thing they don't have is somebody punching them in the face while they're hitting, but close enough in golf. This would be about as close to a punch in the face as golf as you get from an opposing fan. I guess, Segs, you lean on why you're there in the first place. And I think if you fight, and I didn't fight it, but if you fight where you are and look at the situation as the whole world's watching, even though they're not, a lot of the world, but the golf fans are, if you look at it, it can be overwhelming. You almost got to look at it like, okay, when I get right down to it, as I address the first tee, you almost got to embrace it and play along with, they're going to get after me, and I can be the quiet, I can be the guy who shuts them up. That's kind of the way I played at quarterback going on the road. It's a sign of respect to get booed on the road. Right. It sucks to be booed at home. Now, can you imagine playing at home? You snap hooking and getting your ass kicked 9-7, and then you have to go and face it. Then the next round's even worse because you're like, my God, I let my team down. How do I get back into this? So, listen, and it won't just be the rookies. Now, one thing we know, the reason they're here is J.J. Spawn knows how to hit a 65-foot putt with pressure on it at the U.S. Open. He's seen it. So lean into that. And if you're Højgaard, I almost think it may be better to do it on the road as a rookie when you're playing a road. I liked my first game being on the road starting because it just got away from the being in the ticket business. I could just focus on my job, right? And knowing what was coming from the fans. When it came for him, if you're Højgaard, you lean on all the clutch shots. And I know visualization, you got to lean on, say, I've hit this shot off at first tee with a dog leg right 50 times in my life. I know how to hit it. And if I miss it, we'll make the second one, I'll be fine. But I think you got to lean into embracing how choke factor it feels, as opposed to saying, this isn't a big deal. Of course it's a big deal. Of course you want to hit it well. And even if you don't hit it where you want to, what are you going to be, Segs? Possibly in a little bit of rough and putting your guy it's a second, you hit the third one, make the putt or whatever it is. So, nerves galore. I don't know what it is, whatever it is to meditate, whatever it is that you tell yourself that allows you to get off. I can't imagine it's any different than a rookie leading a tournament, standing at the first tee box at a place at Augusta where he's got a 2-stroke. Making it sound too easy. Listen, I almost think you got to embrace the crowd and let them get after it. And if they're quiet, step back and go through your pre-shot routine and hit the ball. And once the first shot, like anything else, Segs, is done, now you're back into, honestly, in the military, you're playing golf. Right. You are literally playing golf. So but make no mistake, they'll, want to throw up. Listen, I know guys that threw up before every single football game, veterans and rookies alike. Maybe Rasmus Højgaard has to blow chow before he goes out there to feel good about it and let it rip, whatever it takes. But the one thing about it is this repeatable stuff, they've done it a million times. The only difference here is you're playing a Pro-Am. I was playing in a Pro-Am and it was at noon. And I teed off at noon with Mike Modano and a senior PGA Tour players in Minnesota at Bunker Hills. And when they introduced you, and at noon, everybody was there watching. Yeah. And Modano's a good player, and he'd hit it. And I'm like, my hand was shaking like a leaf. And I'd said, wait a minute, man, I've been in these games a million times as a football player, but it wasn't what I knew how to do, right? Exactly. So I'm shaking like a leaf, but it'd be, like sending Højgaard out and saying, go drop back and throw your first slant route. You'd be like, what am I doing? And so that's how I felt. And I was like, I had to hold my wrist and put it in. And then I looked at the crowd and Brady said, you're not real safe standing there. And they all laughed. And I hit it off the first tee and it was fine. And I kept going. I said, thank goodness I got away from that opening crowd. I wish they'd put me at like 6 a.m. or 7 of the first tee. I was playing, it's Patrick Cantlay. Yeah. Here's a guy who plays slow, could irritate a partner. I'm talking about the other teams because Schauffele's going to know he is. That's his best friend. Yeah. So, and Cantlay, you listen to the way he answered questions in the press conference, and he's stoic, dude. He very little emotion. I don't think the crowd on the road or home bothers him. I think there's this arrogance about him. Says I can play with any of these cats. Yeah. And so to me, there's a confidence about him, even when somebody else may not be confident in him, that Cantlay's going to hang around. Feels like, I put it this way, the ball's in the middle of the fairway and you got to hit it to a back right pin that's tucked, and give me Fleetwood. Fleetwood's going to hit it somewhere on there. And I honestly believe that Patrick Cantlay can handle this. And he drives me crazy at times with this play, Segs. He just does. Yet there's an arrogance about him and people don't like him for some reason. But when you listen to players talk, they love him. Say he's a great guy. So there's the demeanor doesn't match, I guess, how he is around the team. So I think he's probably pretty equipped to say, hey, man, the people are going to build this up to whatever they want to build it up. And you saw when he got introduced as a captain's pick, he was the only one. And Keegan Bradley even said, he goes, well, there's Patrick Cantlay, gave me Noah. Playing so well right now, and the putt and winning the Tour Championship makes him dangerous. But I'm anxious to see, just like Ludwig and Harris English, because there's three swings I want. I want Jake Knapp, I want Ludwig Oberg, and I'm not going to say that Aaron Judge is just going to win because he's in New York, but maybe there's an affinity for a guy, the fatigue. Oh, it was Aaron Judge. I get how he won it, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I would love to see it co-MVPs, but I don't think you're going to see it. But it'll be I don't know how you decipher
and not everybody's up watching them.
More people have seen Judge play this year than Cal Raleigh.
Yes.
Just like Andrew Luck when he was at Stanford, Segs, playing that night game. A phenomenal season, could have won the high. Not enough people saw him. And I will say this, that and this isn't the right way to do it, but there's a part of me that says, okay, who would you expect to have a season close to the season they've had this year, next year, the year after?
Right.
It would be Aaron Judge, I would say.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? The MVP to Nikola Jokic again. His numbers have been better. He had better numbers than when he won the MVPs in the past. Yet you look at Shea Gilgeous. We do that all the time. Yesterday. So, and then you jump to the Rams, who I think the Rams are as good as any team in football, or at least in the NFC. Yeah. I don't think either one of these teams are going to win the division, but I'm starting to see in this division, this is becoming one of the deeper divisions, Segs. It really is sneaky deep, right? Seattle, Arizona. And then we know what the 49ers and Rams are usually going to bring to the table, right? So I actually think that this is – because look in this division. Beats the Rams, of course it wouldn't shock you. So I think that they're bottom good and pretty top heavy with the two best teams. Got to be a little lucky. I think this is probably a sneaky good game because you've got some really, really good talent on both teams. And then now look at the quarterback position, Segs. Whether it's Purdy and Mac Jones prove that he can win. We know what Stafford, and you know what our guy Sam Darnold, how he's played better, and Kyler Murray's got the ability to do some phenomenal things. And we see, as they're talking, Marvin Harrison, elevating his game to a level that you're like, okay, we need him to start catching balls, not leaving them on the ground. It starts to remind me of what's going on with CeeDee Lamb laying ball, right? Yeah. And I see when he came out, you know who I said was the safest pick of that? I do it every year, pick the safest pick from the first round, the guy that I think 10 years from now we're still going to be talking to. It's Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah.
He was that guy. So he's going to have to elevate his game. I think this is a good game with talented people, and I think that they're both going to be – I don't think either one of them are going to be out of the playoff picture when we hit Thanksgiving. I think both can hang around.
I think the unit to really watch is that Seattle defense. Mike McDonald's getting his
great coach
players, and we see what Jesse Minter's doing. It's that same scheme up in Seattle. So we'll have to watch and see how Kyler Murray and
he's got them buying into defense things. And I think Darnold, I don't think you took a step back with Darnold, and we're still waiting for Kyler Murray to have a 17 game and with Arizona, a 17 game stretch where it's like, this guy's an MVP candidate. We were waiting for his talent to shine through, yet will he, because of the inconsistencies? And with Marvin Harrison Jr., all these teams, you want that one guy that's dominant go-to. And I don't know, Dr. J, how many drops he has this year with Marvin Harrison. It's too many. Yeah, well, right now, when we talk about guys that, why is CD Lamb and why is Marvin Harrison Jr., why is that ball on the ground? Because
Right.
it felt like they were automatic, right, Segs?
Yeah.
Something's going on there, and I don't know how he's going to fix it. But if he does, they're obviously potent enough to be dangerous. I think it's a deeper division than you thought going into the season. I think I do. But they still got a ways to go to be Rams/49ers when both of those squads are healthy. And I think Puka, as JB pointed out, I'm not sure there's a more consistent, better receiver in the league for the Rams.
No.
But in this game tonight, this game in Seattle, isn't it, Segs? Or is it,
No,
in
it's in Arizona.
It's in Arizona. Oh, okay. Give me Arizona, but it will not shock me if this is a fourth quarter game. I like both. I don't love either. Does that make sense?
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Can I say one thing? I know we're
Yeah.
going to wrap it up just about. I mentioned yesterday, and we've had some people come on because I've been off our morning show. Two things. The Astros, we've seen chokes before. They're immersed in an epic choke factor right now, dude. I mean, they are, and yet they still have a chance in the Detroit, Cleveland, Boston. Boston's kind of extending that. That's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Seattle obviously has already clinched. I'm actually shocked how they forgot to play. I am. I can't. I mean, since I've been on the road, I'm like baffled. I understand how Seattle comes in, but Seattle, they humiliated you, and now the A's are doing the same thing. So we're in the middle of an epic. And we can talk about injuries. I know that's the excuse make, but you still got to show up and play. And it's like they've skipped out on these. It's a weird watch. And with the Texans, I'm telling you, that defense, Segs, they don't give up. They don't give up much. That offense should be playing on Friday nights right now.
Right.
That's where they belong. And I can't believe I'm saying that. Going in, this was supposed to be the team that was a team to chase, and they were going to run away with the division. And the Colts have said, not so fast. And hell, if you told me at the beginning of the year that the Titans, we'd be questioning if the Texans are going to beat the Titans, I'd have said, you're on crack. But I honestly don't know offensively what they're going to give us. And if it wasn't for that defense, the Texans we'd be talking about the Texans like we're talking about the Saints.
Yeah.
Now fathom that right now. So to answer it, and we'll talk about it when I'm on the show locally tomorrow, but it's been an epic meltdown for the Astros in epic proportions, and they're immersed in that choke job. I don't know what else you can call it, Segs, other than what happened. And then with the Texans, there's no team that was picked better that's playing worse offensively than the Houston Texans in the NFL right now. We knew the Saints weren't going to be good.
Right.
We knew Carolina was going to be up and down. We had zero idea that this team was going to be this putrid on offense. Like I said, they're better equipped game plan wise offensively for Friday night more than they are Sundays right now.
When we picked the divisions in the NFL, the winners, I mean, it was Texans, no thought, any other team, no other teams making the playoffs. Hell, we were thinking the other three teams might be picking in the top 10. All three of them.
We said with the division that maybe they're a team that gets to 12 wins and has a chance to be in home field advantage talk, considering Pittsburgh and Baltimore and Cincinnati and that group beating each other up, depending on how Buffalo goes. And well, we've seen that movie. And well, what's the Chargers in Kansas City and how are the Raiders going to be better out there? We started going around the divisions. It was like, well, the one that really doesn't seem to have a whole lot of competition is the Texans. And they're right. It's the Colts, not the Texans. And I'm going into this Titans game thinking, can you score 3 touchdowns?
Right.
It's really a hard watch. And at some point they're going to break out of it. But you want to talk about a team that's going to start dividing themselves? I'm just telling you, with the way the distance between the defense and the offense on Sundays is an embarrassment to the offense. They're not even the same area code as the way the defense plays.
You lose to the Titans this week and you're 0-4, and let's say the Colts go win. You're 4 games behind.
They got no shot.
You go at Baltimore.
They're not going to beat Baltimore.
At Seattle after a bye. And then you got the 49ers, Broncos. I mean,
you could be 1-7, Segs.
Yeah.
1-6, 1-7. I mean,
and then we're talking about
you may still be that anyway if you or you could be 0. I'm talking about you lose at Tennessee, you could very easily start off 0-6, 0-7. But you're going to struggle to get one of those with the way your offense is playing, and you can't keep going to the stadium thinking, well, defense will give us a short field, we'll have a chance.
Yeah.
I mean, that defense, trying to score 3 touchdowns on their defense is a hard task. Trying to score 3 touchdowns or 17 points is monumental for the Texans offense. Coordinator, quarterback, offensive line, weapons, run game. You want an epic struggle for them. So right now, Houston sports is reeling, and the Astros and Texans are right in the middle of it. Well, the Texans' offense is a problem in this city, Segs.
Yes, very much.
You can't score runs if you're the Astros, and you can't score touchdowns and points if you're the Texans. So it's become contagious, and I'm not sure how they're going to fix it, because if they're close offensively, show me where that close is. Where? Yeah. That's wrap up. Where you try to pin the tail on the donkey, or try to hit the hit the candy out of the thing when you've got the blindfold on. That's how the Astros. I mean, the Texans are playing offense. Quite frankly, that's how the Astros are playing offense too.
Yeah, it's been a rough go there in the city of Houston.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, we'll obviously keep you all up to date on what's going on with the Ryder Cup. We'll be watching it all day. But man, do we have a college football weekend.
And we got Kansas State now looking for a coach too, right?
Yes,
Kansas State and Oklahoma State both, right?
Both
good programs too, really are.
Yeah, they are.
Good programs. I mean potential
to have success, and if you get the right coach and you bring in the right culture, you can have success at either of those places.
Sustained success for two cities or two programs that don't get the 5-star players on a regular basis. Exactly. They have to develop them. Bill Snyder did a great job. Gundy for so long. But two jobs, you say, man, you can win 10 games at Kansas State. I'll tell you what, do they ever go back to A&M and grab like a Colin Klein Segs and bring him back to Kansas State as the head coach? Because because he's got that Bill Snyder, that feel, right? So at the end of the season, you go offer him the gig, let the interim coach do it, go get him. And then if you're Oklahoma State, find somebody that, that you can say, man, convince the administration to pay money and go get it. Both are sneaky good jobs. I know that if you're like, well, who wants to live in Manhattan, Kansas? Well, a lot of people do. And I think Colin Klein keeps coming to mind for me.
Yeah.
To go back when the season's over. No doubt about it.
Okay. Yeah. But yeah, games we have this weekend. Your Trojans at Illinois. Illinois just got destroyed by Indiana last week.
They're going to be pissed, and it's an early game that's driving. They went from the latest game to the earliest game when you're talking Lincoln Riley. And when you start talking about that stuff, you obviously know you're talking about it to your program. So we'll see. This is the first big test for USC when it comes to supposed physicality that they're going to face from Illinois.
Notre Dame travels to Arkansas. That's a sneaky game for Notre Dame. Don't sleep on the Hogs. They can come back and they can bite you right there. And then
their quarterback's talented too. Yep.
We got OSU at Washington. Washington's the highest scoring offense.
I think Washington's getting hosed on the vote part of it, Sags. Yes. I do. I think people have forgot. And they have forgot just how, and that is a brutal ass place to play, Sags. I played there many times. It is brutal.
Go watch Joe Klatt's video on Twitter.
Did he say something about
that? Yep. We got LSU at Ole Miss. We got Oregon at Penn State, and we got Bama at Georgia. That's all Saturday, plus the Ryder Cup.
To Oregon at Penn State, you said?
And that's a whiteout night game.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's going to be friggin' nasty. I can't wait to see it. And then to me, this Ole Miss LSU game, because I think Ole Miss is really friggin' good, dude.
They are.
And I think LSU can win the whole thing. Their quarterback and the rest, so I this Saturday, I'm gonna go nuts. Just try to to watch it all. I'm more excited for Saturdays than I am Sundays most of the time, and this is a big reason why. And then you throw the Ryder Cup in there, and I'm gonna lose my collective mind this weekend watching sports.
It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be nuts.
Can't wait, brother.
We'll talk about all of it tomorrow, and plus our NFL Sunday, which who can continue on playing well, who needs the win. Houston, they need to win over Tennessee more than probably anybody in the league right now. But yeah, we'll talk about it all tomorrow. Thanks to Laura. Thanks to Triple E. Thanks to you, Sean. Glad you're back from Hawaii.
Great to be back, man. And to my son, if he sees the podcast,
congrats.
Dodge, I love you. Your bride's cool and a phenomenal wedding. And I'm proud to be his dad. I've got three phenomenal kids. And seeing your first kid, he's the middle child, but getting married, it tugs at the heartstrings, Segs. And you're hosed because you got a couple dogs. Well, I know you're a long ways from it, Segs, but we'll be having this conversation a decade from now, and you'll be saying, Sean, you're already seeing them. Keep the boys away, Segs.
Yes.
And then keep the gun polished because you're like, that's my daughter. There you go.
Yes.
So, yeah, man. But it was phenomenal, and the family's great, and it was an incredible experience to be a part of it. And I'm really proud of my boy, and stepdaughter also having a baby. I call her my stepdaughter. She's really a daughter. She's having a baby this month too. So and then my daughter got engaged, and I mean, dude, it's haywire. Oh, by the way, it's the Ryder Cup, so we'll get the rest of the stuff later. Good stuff.
Ryder Cup and a great college football weekend. So we'll get to all of it tomorrow. We will talk to you guys later. Peace.